The situation hasn't immediately died down in war-torn Syria because Israel is conducting air and ground offensive in Syria right now. So on one side, if Jilani's rebel group has managed to overthrow the Bashar Al-Assad government, it's Israel, Russia that are also attempting their share of offensive. Israel is clearly moving to secure the Golan Heights area. Israeli airstrike at the Syrian port is what we can see. It has hit the Latakia post where Russia also has a strong influence. Blast, smoke can be seen and heard at different locations. Syrian security sources are blaming Israel right now that amid a conflict like this, that Israel is conducting these strikes. India Today's Ashraf Wani joining me for the latest on that. Ashraf, good morning. Golan Heights has been specifically that Benjamin Netanyahu has said they'll not let go of. What are you picking up right now? Because on one side, if the rebel groups have taken over, how is Israel and where is it doing and conducting these air and ground offensive?
Pooja, actually, Israel is worried because they have managed to cut off the supply line for the Hezbollah during last 1 year, and particularly after the change of regime in the Syria. But the rebels who are now coming as a big force in the Syria are a major threat because they are the jihadists, most of them. Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, the leader of that, Jilani, was once a commander of Al-Qaeda. And when the recent videos emerged from the rebels, one of the video clearly indicates that all these jihadis have eyes on the Jerusalem and Gaza. Even they stated that. Then the major concern for the Netanyahu is that all those weapons, maybe the anti-air defense systems which were provided by Russia to the Assad regime, could go to the hands of these rebels and could be used against the Israel. That is why the Israel has not only hold up the Golan Heights, which is the part of the Syria, but also has come near about 14 kilometers deep inside Syria and also occupied that territory. Israel said that this arrangement is temporary, but everyone knows in the Middle East and in the world that any temporary arrangement of the Israel remains always permanent.
Ashraf, what also looks like here right now is there is Israel, there's Russia, there's the West, and then there's, of course, Jilani's rebel group, HTS. So it will be very interesting to see what happens in Syria. Can it turn to stability, or will the situation turn much worse than how it was in the Assad regime? Ashraf, thank you very much for all that perspective and the background coming in from the situation in Syria. Remember that Bashar al-Assad's regime, once considered a constant for Syria, fell in no time, because these rebel groups led by Al-Jilani decided to launch an offensive and it caught the government of God. Eventually, right now, the West is hailing it, Israel is hailing it as well, but also suggesting that there are, in the days to come, there is going to be a lot of uncertainty. So where is Assad and his family? Reports have confirmed he's in Russia, granted asylum by Putin. But this is going to be one area to watch out in the next few weeks. Here's a report on that.
After 13 years of civil war in Syria that killed over 5 lakh people, a decade-long regime succumbs. On Sunday, President Bashar Al-Assad fled the country and rebel forces took charge of Syria. A familiar cycle of change in West Asia, but one that does not necessarily signal good.
This victory, my brothers, is a new chapter in the history of the entire Islamic nation. It is a turning point for the region. How many dangers have we avoided? He handed Syria over to Iranian ambitions, spreading sectarianism and corruption throughout the country.
Initially believed to have been assassinated in the air, the ousted president and his family have been granted asylum by Russia. Syria's Prime Minister Ghazi Al-Jilani is cooperating with the rebel forces for a peaceful transition of power. But the country, already broken from war and conflict, glares at an even more uncertain future. Assad's ouster has shifted Syria's global dynamics. World leaders are closely monitoring the developments in crisis-hit Syria.
We've taken note of statements by the leaders of these rebel groups in recent days, and they're saying the right things now. But as they take on greater responsibility, we will assess not just their words, but their actions. And we are mindful that there are Americans in Syria.
Historic day for the Middle East. The collapse of the Assad regime, the tyranny in Damascus, offers great opportunity, but also is fraught with significant dangers. This collapse is a direct result of our forceful action against Hezbollah and Iran, Assad's main supporters. It set off a chain reaction of all those who want to free themselves from this tyranny and its oppression.
For years, Iran's support sustained Assad's regime in Syria. Iran blamed Israel for the overthrow of Bashar Al-Assad, accusing Israel of arming rebels and providing them with support.
The opposing parties were provided with modern equipment so advanced that even many of the world's developed countries didn't possess it. For this reason, the Syrian government, army and people decided not to resist heavily in this area.
Israel reportedly conducted 3 airstrikes in the Syrian capital on a security complex and a government research center, which it had said in the past was used by Iran to develop missiles. Assad's ouster came as a big relief for Syrians, but normalcy remains far away. Bureau Report, India Today.